Welcome to Go Readling Bedtime Stories, presented by GoReadling.com, personalized education and reading skills for kids. Find a comfortable spot, close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, and let our story carry you gently off to sleep. Tonight's story is called The Pied Piper of Hamelin. In the vibrant, cheerful town of Hamelin, bright banners fluttered from every window, and the scent of freshly baked bread filled the air. Life here was usually a joyful song, with children laughing and shopkeepers happily calling out their wares. However, beneath this cheerful facade, a tiny, whiskered problem was growing larger with each passing day. The townspeople tried their best to ignore it, but the problem simply refused to be overlooked.
Finn saw a rat just now. It zipped right past Finn's feet and into Baker Henrik's shop. Does Baker Henrik know about the speedy rat?
Luna saw it too, Finn. The tiny creature looked very quick. Luna wonders if the rat found a warm spot to nap, or if the rat was looking for a tasty treat.
Oh, Luna, Finn. Baker Henrik wishes it was just one rat. Baker Henrik has seen dozens of rats this morning already. They are nibbling Baker Henrik's pastries right off the shelves when Baker Henrik isn't looking.
Baker Henrik wrung his flour-dusted hands, his usually rosy cheeks a bit pale with worry. The sound of tiny scuttling feet echoed from behind his counter, confirming his complaints. The rats were indeed everywhere.
Citizen Anya found a rat playing hide-and-seek in Citizen Anya's laundry basket this morning. The mischievous creature even chewed a hole in Citizen Anya's favorite blanket.
Grocer Tobias's cheese barrels are no longer safe from those whiskered bandits, Citizen Anya. Grocer Tobias tried setting traps, but the clever rats just laugh at Grocer Tobias's efforts.
The town meeting hall buzzed with frantic chatter as Mayor Hubert, a portly man with a perpetually rosy face, tried to bring order to the chaos. He wiped his brow with a silk handkerchief, his usual cheerfulness replaced by a deep frown. The problem of the rats was truly getting out of hand, affecting every corner of Hamelin. The town desperately needed a solution, and quickly.
My dear townspeople, Mayor Hubert understands everyone's frustration. Mayor Hubert has tried everything Mayor Hubert can think of. What else can Mayor Hubert do to get rid of these tiny terrors?
Farmer Ilara's grain stores are practically empty, Mayor Hubert. The rats are eating more than Farmer Ilara can grow. Farmer Ilara will have no grain left for Hamelin's families if this continues.
Citizen Marcus can't even enjoy a peaceful meal in Citizen Marcus's own home without a rat trying to steal a crumb. Citizen Marcus thinks the rats are getting bolder every day, Mayor Hubert.
A collective sigh of despair rippled through the hall. Everyone had a story, each one more troublesome than the last. The rats seemed to outsmart every effort, making their lives miserable. Mayor Hubert paced back and forth, his brow furrowed in deep thought, knowing he had to find an answer soon. Luna saw a rat trying to play with a shiny button near the fountain just this morning. Luna thinks the rats might be lonely, or maybe just very, very hungry, Mayor Hubert.
Finn thinks the rats are just plain mischievous, Luna. They seem to enjoy causing trouble. Finn wishes Finn could invent a giant cheese trap to lure them all away from Hamelin, Mayor Hubert.
The townspeople offered various suggestions, from louder bells to stronger traps, but each idea was met with a chorus of, "We've tried that." The problem felt insurmountable, a furry, squeaking wave threatening to engulf their once happy town. Mayor Hubert slumped onto his grand wooden chair, feeling utterly stumped. He closed his eyes, wishing for a miracle to appear and solve their predicament. The silence in the hall was heavy, filled only by the distant sounds of the bustling town, and perhaps a faint squeak.
Mayor Hubert is at Mayor Hubert's wit's end. What can Mayor Hubert do? Mayor Hubert's promise to protect Hamelin feels impossible to keep against these tiny invaders.
Baker Henrik has tried everything. Baker Henrik even tried baking extra cheese tarts to distract them. But the clever rats just ate the tarts and then came back for more, Mayor Hubert.
Farmer Alara thinks the rats have learned all of Hamelin's tricks, Mayor Hubert. Farmer Alara needs a new kind of solution, something nobody has ever tried before in Hamelin.
Just as hopelessness settled over the assembly, a hush fell as the hall doors creaked open. A gust of wind swirled inside, bringing with it a hint of distant meadow flowers. All eyes turned towards the entrance, a flicker of renewed curiosity replacing their despair. Something, or someone, was about to enter their lives.
Luna sees someone new, Finn. Luna has never seen a person dressed quite like that in Hamelin before. Does Finn think the person is a traveling merchant?
Finn doesn't know Luna, but the person certainly looks interesting. Finn wonders what the person is carrying in their hand, Luna. It looks like a small piece of wood.
Into the dim hall stepped a mysterious figure, tall and slender, clad in a long, vibrant coat stitched with patches of many colors: scarlet, gold, emerald green, and deep sapphire blue. Sunlight streaming through the high windows caught the shimmering fabric, making it seem as though the figure carried a rainbow on his shoulders. He carried no sword, no bag of goods, but only a small, exquisitely carved wooden flute, polished to a soft gleam. A gentle smile played on his lips, and his eyes held a calm, knowing twinkle. He looked around the room, taking in the worried faces.
Good day to the esteemed people of Hamelin. The Pied Piper has heard of Hamelin's little problem with the tiny, furry residents. The Pied Piper believes the Pied Piper can help Hamelin.
A stranger? And what can a flute player do about Hamelin's rat problem, good sir? Mayor Hubert has tried everything, and Mayor Hubert is the mayor of Hamelin.
Mayor Hubert puffed out his chest a little, his skepticism clear in his voice. He looked the piper up and down, still unsure. The piper's gaze remained steady and kind, holding a quiet confidence that slowly began to ease the tension in the room. The townspeople leaned forward, a hesitant hope blossoming in their hearts. Perhaps this mysterious man held a secret they didn't know.
Luna thinks the piper looks very kind, Mayor Hubert. Luna also thinks the Pied Piper's coat is beautiful. Luna wonders what tunes the Pied Piper plays on the flute.
Finn agrees with Luna. Maybe the Pied Piper's music is special, Mayor Hubert. Finn would love to hear the Pied Piper play a song.
The Pied Piper offered another gentle smile, his eyes sparkling. He knew the doubt in their hearts, but he also sensed their deep desperation. He calmly explained that his music had a special way of persuading creatures, not with force, but with an irresistible charm. He didn't boast, but simply stated his capability, his voice soft yet firm. Mayor Hubert, despite himself, found a sliver of curiosity poking through his skepticism. He looked at the worried faces of Baker Henrik and Farmer Alara, seeing their last shred of hope resting on this strange newcomer. The silence was palpable, everyone waiting for the mayor's next move.
The Pied Piper assures Mayor Hubert that the Pied Piper's methods are gentle but very effective. The Pied Piper asks only for a fair reward for the Pied Piper's service to Hamelin.
A reward, you say? And what kind of reward does a flute player expect for playing a tune, even a special one? The mayor of Hamelin will pay, but Hamelin needs results first.
Please, Mayor Hubert, Citizen Anya thinks any hope is better than no hope. What if the Pied Piper truly can help Hamelin? Citizen Anya will pay the Pied Piper anything.
The other townspeople murmured in agreement, their desperation overriding their caution. They urged Mayor Hubert to hear the Pied Piper out, to at least consider the offer. Mayor Hubert, seeing the united plea of his town, sighed heavily, knowing he had little left to lose. He knew he had to try this unconventional approach, no matter how unusual it seemed. He looked back at the Pied Piper, a new glint of cautious hope in his eyes.
Grocer Tobias has heard tales of such magic, Mayor Hubert. Perhaps the Pied Piper holds a true gift for Hamelin, a gift Grocer Tobias thinks Hamelin truly needs.
Mayor Hubert, after a moment of deep consideration, finally straightened up. He cleared his throat, his gaze meeting the Pied Piper's steady eyes. He knew he was taking a leap of faith, but the state of Hamelin demanded swift action. He would make a promise, a grand one, if this mysterious musician could truly deliver. The townspeople held their breath, waiting for the mayor's decision. A wave of nervous anticipation washed over the hall as the fate of their town's rat problem hung in the balance.
Very well, Pied Piper. If you can truly rid Hamelin of every single one of those pesky rats, Mayor Hubert personally will give you a big bag of shiny gold coins. A very big bag indeed.
A bag of gold, Mayor Hubert. The Pied Piper asks only that Mayor Hubert honors the Pied Piper's word. A promise made is a promise kept, always. The Pied Piper will do the Pied Piper's part for Hamelin.
The Pied Piper's smile widened, a quiet understanding passing between him and Mayor Hubert. He gave a kind, reassuring nod, accepting the challenge. The townspeople burst into a ripple of hopeful whispers, their spirits lifting for the first time in weeks. Luna and Finn exchanged excited glances, eager to see what would happen next. This was an adventure unfolding right before their eyes, a magical solution to Hamelin's big problem.
Luna thinks the Pied Piper will do it, Finn. Luna feels a happy tingle inside, as if something wonderful is about to happen for Hamelin.
Finn hopes so, Luna. Finn can't wait to see if those rats really follow the Pied Piper's music. Finn has never seen anything like it before.
The Pied Piper walked out into the bustling marketplace, the colorful patches of his coat shimmering in the morning sun. The townspeople followed, a hopeful crowd gathering around him. He stopped in the town square, near the bubbling fountain where children often played. With a graceful movement, he raised his small wooden flute to his lips. A hush fell over Hamelin, a silence so profound that even the chirping birds seemed to quiet down, listening intently. A soft, sweet melody drifted through the air, unlike any music anyone in Hamelin had ever heard. It was light and airy, yet filled with an undeniable, captivating charm, weaving itself into the very fabric of the town.
What a delightful tune! Mayor Hubert has never heard such a beautiful melody in Hamelin. But where are the rats? Mayor Hubert only hears the music.
Be patient, Mayor Hubert. Farmer Ilara feels a strange sense of calm just listening to the Pied Piper's song. Farmer Ilara thinks something is happening.
Suddenly, a tiny whiskered nose poked out from beneath a wooden cart, then another and another. From every crack in the cobblestones, from under every market stall, out of every window and doorway, scurried the rats. They emerged in droves, their tiny eyes bright, their whiskers twitching. They didn't look scared or angry. Instead, they seemed mesmerized, their small bodies swaying to the enchanting tune. It was a sight no one in Hamelin would ever forget, a sea of brown fur following the melody.
Look, Finn! Luna sees so many rats! They are all coming out! Luna thought they were hiding from everyone in Hamelin.
Wow, Luna! Finn has never seen so many rats at once. They are all going towards the Pied Piper. Finn thinks the Pied Piper's music is truly magic.
The Pied Piper didn't stop playing. He simply turned and began to walk, his colorful coat flowing behind him. The rats, an unbelievable river of furry bodies, followed every step, every note. They scampered, they twitched, they bounced, but never once did they break ranks. The sweet melody seemed to guide their every movement, pulling them along as if by an invisible thread. The townspeople watched in awe, their mouths agape, unable to believe their eyes. A wave of relief, tentative at first, began to wash over them as they saw their tormentors moving away from Hamelin, not towards it. The air, once heavy with the presence of rodents, began to feel lighter, fresher.
Unbelievable! Mayor Hubert never thought Mayor Hubert would see such a sight. The rats are actually leaving Hamelin. Mayor Hubert feels a little dizzy from the surprise.
Baker Henrik's pies are safe. Baker Henrik's flour is safe. Oh, thank you, Pied Piper. Baker Henrik could almost cry with happiness.
The Pied Piper led them past the baker's shop, where Baker Henrik cheered, past Grocer Tobias's stall, where Grocer Tobias waved his hat in excitement. The rats paid no attention to the food they usually craved. The music was all that mattered. The enchanting tune filled the streets, drawing the rats further and further away from the heart of Hamelin. It was a joyous exodus, a parade of pestilence marching to a magical beat, a sight that brought tears of joy to many.
Citizen Marcus can't believe Citizen Marcus's eyes. The Piper is truly a miracle worker for Hamelin. Citizen Marcus thinks this is amazing.
The Pied Piper continued his steady march, leading the endless stream of rats out of the town gates. The townspeople, still mesmerized, followed at a respectful distance, their cheers slowly growing into a joyous roar. They watched as the last tail disappeared beyond the stone archway, a feeling of freedom sweeping through Hamelin. The air smelled cleaner, the streets felt emptier, and a collective weight seemed to lift from everyone's shoulders. The oppressive squeaking and scuttling that had plagued their lives for so long was finally gone, replaced by the sweet, receding notes of the flute. This was a day of true triumph for Hamelin.
Look, Luna, the rats are all gone from inside Hamelin. Finn sees the last rat wiggling its tail through the gate. Finn thinks the Pied Piper is the cleverest person in the world.
Luna thinks so too, Finn. Luna can finally walk down the street without looking over Luna's shoulder for a scurrying rat. This is wonderful for Hamelin.
They're truly gone, every single one. Mayor Hubert can hardly believe it. Hamelin is saved. Mayor Hubert feels like Mayor Hubert can finally breathe again.
The Pied Piper led the rats along a winding path, through green fields and past whispering trees, the tune never faltering. The sun shone brightly on their peculiar procession, illuminating the path towards a new destiny for the furry creatures. The townspeople watched until the Pied Piper and his rat followers were just tiny specks on the horizon, the enchanting music fading into a gentle echo. Their town, their beloved Hamelin, was finally free of its whiskered problem, all thanks to the mysterious man with the magic flute.
Citizen Anya can almost feel the peace settling over Hamelin, Mayor Hubert. Citizen Anya thinks the Pied Piper has brought true quiet to Hamelin's streets again.
The Pied Piper led the hypnotized rodents to the banks of the river that flowed gently past Hamelin. The water glittered under the sun, reflecting the clear blue sky. Without breaking stride, the rats, still utterly enthralled by the sweet, persistent melody, followed their musical leader to the very edge of the water. One by one, they entered the calm, cool river, their tiny bodies floating gently with the current. The music guided them, not to harm, but to a new, peaceful journey far away from Hamelin and its troubles. The Piper knew the river would carry them safely to a distant, uninhabited land, where they could start a new life without bothering anyone.
The Pied Piper's music sends them on a peaceful journey, away from Hamelin and into a new destiny. The river will carry them far, far away to find a peaceful home.
The last tiny rat disappeared around a bend in the river, carried by the gentle current. The Pied Piper finally lowered his flute, and the enchanting music ceased. The silence that followed was profound, broken only by the chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves. He turned and began his walk back to Hamelin, a sense of quiet accomplishment accompanying his steps. He knew his part was done, and he expected the mayor to keep his word.
They are really gone. Mayor Hubert can't believe Mayor Hubert's good fortune. Hamelin is free. Now Mayor Hubert can focus on important mayoral duties once more.
Baker Henrik's heart is singing, Mayor Hubert. No more chewed flour sacks for Baker Henrik. Baker Henrik can finally bake without constant worry.
Farmer Elara sees new green shoots for Hamelin now, Mayor Hubert. Farmer Elara will have plenty of grain to sell to Hamelin's families.
The Pied Piper returned to Hamelin, the town now buzzing with joyous activity. Children were playing freely in the streets again, and shopkeepers were merrily cleaning their spotless stores. A fresh, clean scent seemed to hang in the air, replacing the faint, musty smell of rodents. The townspeople, their faces beaming with relief, rushed to greet him, showering him with thanks and praise. Mayor Hubert, at the forefront, clapped the piper heartily on the back, his face red with excitement and what seemed like overwhelming gratitude. He looked truly delighted to see Hamelin restored to its former glory.
Pied Piper, what a hero you are for Hamelin. Mayor Hubert cannot thank you enough. Hamelin owes you a great debt.
The Pied Piper is glad to have helped Hamelin. The Pied Piper asks only that Mayor Hubert now fulfills Mayor Hubert's promise to the Pied Piper.
The piper's voice was gentle, but his eyes held a steady expectation. Mayor Hubert, however, suddenly seemed to shift. His smile wavered, and a calculating glint appeared in his eyes. He looked around at the now rat-free town, the danger gone, and a new thought began to form in his mind. The large bag of gold coins he had promised suddenly seemed like a very hefty sum, now that the problem was no longer pressing. He cleared his throat, avoiding the Pied Piper's direct gaze.
Mayor Hubert, you made a promise to the Pied Piper. Citizen Anya heard Mayor Hubert say, a big bag of shiny gold coins. Citizen Anya thinks the Pied Piper deserves it.
Indeed, Mayor Hubert. Grocer Tobias thinks a promise is a promise. Hamelin's word means something, Mayor Hubert.
Mayor Hubert chuckled, a dry, dismissive sound that sent a shiver down the spines of the townspeople. He waved a dismissive hand, as if the whole matter were a trifle. The initial gratitude had evaporated, replaced by a clear, cold greed. He thought he could easily trick the Pied Piper, now that the rats were gone and the threat was far away. He looked at the piper with a smirk, believing he had outsmarted the mysterious musician. His actions made several townspeople exchange worried glances, knowing that Hamelin's reputation for honesty was now at stake, as was their appreciation for the Pied Piper's help.
Gold coins for a mere tune? Mayor Hubert thinks the Pied Piper only played a silly little song, not a grand feat of engineering. Mayor Hubert thinks a few silver coins will be more than enough for the Pied Piper's service.
Mayor Hubert made a promise. A man's word is his bond. The Pied Piper expects Mayor Hubert to keep Mayor Hubert's word, as the Pied Piper tipped the Pied Piper's word to Hamelin.
The Pied Piper's voice remained calm, but a subtle shift in his demeanor was noticeable. His eyes, which had been kind, now held a steely glint. The townspeople gasped, shocked by Mayor Hubert's sudden dishonesty. They knew the mayor had made a clear promise, and to break it now, after such a wonderful deliverance, felt deeply wrong. They began to murmur, their voices a mix of disappointment and shame. Luna and Finn looked at each other, their faces clouding with confusion and upset.
But Mayor Hubert promised, Finn. Luna heard Mayor Hubert say a big bag of gold coins. Why is Mayor Hubert saying something different now?
Finn doesn't know, Luna. Finn thinks Mayor Hubert is being very unfair to the Pied Piper. Mayor Hubert should keep Mayor Hubert's word.
Mayor Hubert laughed again, a harsh, grating sound that grated on the ears of the honest townspeople. He truly believed he had won, that he could get away with breaking his word. He dismissed the murmurs of the crowd, convinced they would quickly forget. He even turned his back to the Pied Piper, signaling the conversation was over. The Pied Piper stood motionless for a moment, observing the mayor's arrogance and the townspeople's dismay. A gentle sigh escaped his lips, a sound of deep disappointment. He had hoped for better from Hamelin, a town that seemed so outwardly joyful.
Nonsense. The rats are gone, are they not? Mayor Hubert thinks the Pied Piper should be grateful for any payment Hamelin offers. Now, if you'll excuse Mayor Hubert has mayoral duties.
Very well, Mayor Hubert. If a promise holds so little meaning to Mayor Hubert, then the Pied Piper must play a different tune for Hamelin,
a tune to remind Hamelin of fairness.
With those quiet, ominous words, the Pied Piper once again raised his wooden flute to his lips. This time, the melody that flowed out was even sweeter, more enchanting, more utterly irresistible than before. It wasn't a tune of mischief, but one of pure, innocent joy, a melody that tugged at the very heartstrings. It shimmered through the air, weaving its way into every home, every alleyway, and every ear in Hamelin, particularly those of the young. The townspeople watched with growing unease, their earlier relief replaced by a new, unsettling fear.
Oh no, Mayor Hubert! Farmer Alara thinks this is not right. The Pied Piper looks very serious now. What is the Pied Piper doing?
Citizen Marcus thinks Mayor Hubert has made a terrible mistake. Citizen Marcus wishes Mayor Hubert had just paid the Pied Piper.
The enchanting music filled every corner of Hamelin, a shimmering, invisible thread drawing out the town's most precious treasures. From houses, from gardens, from the schoolhouse, and from behind market stalls, emerged the children of Hamelin. They looked bright-eyed and eager, their faces lit up with wonder and delight. Tiny Lily, with her pigtails bouncing, skipped out of her cottage, a wide grin on her face. Playful Thomas, usually busy with his wooden sword, dropped it and began to twirl in the street. Little Clara, always shy, came out holding her mother's hand, then gently let go, her eyes fixed on the Pied Piper.
What a beautiful song, Finn! Luna feels like dancing. Luna wants to follow the Pied Piper's music wherever it goes.
Finn feels it too, Luna. This music is even prettier than the rat song. Finn wants to go with the Pied Piper. Where is the Pied Piper going, Luna?
The children, from the smallest toddler to the oldest youth, were drawn by the irresistible melody. Giggling and dancing, their steps light and joyful, they began to follow the Pied Piper. They didn't look back at their parents, their attention completely captivated by the magical sound. Their innocent faces showed no fear, only pure delight and curiosity, as if embarking on the most wonderful adventure. The Pied Piper, still playing his enchanting tune, began to walk towards the town gates, just as he had done with the rats.
My goodness, what is happening? The children! My own little nephew Otto is following the Pied Piper.
My daughter Lena! She's skipping away, Mayor Hubert. What is the Pied Piper doing to our children?
The parents, who had been watching the scene unfold with growing horror, suddenly rushed forward, their faces contorted with dismay. "Our children!" they cried, their voices filled with panic. They tried to call out to their little ones, to grab their hands, but the children, lost in the enchantment of the music, didn't seem to hear or even notice their parents' pleas. Their eyes were bright with a faraway look, completely focused on the Pied Piper and his magical lute. The vibrant melody filled the air, sweeping the children along, an innocent tide flowing away from the town.
My sweet little Clara. Clara, come back to Citizen Anya. Citizen Anya needs Clara to come back.
My son, Felix! Felix, you must not follow that man! Felix, turn around now!
But their words were useless, swallowed by the enchanting music. The Pied Piper led the laughing, dancing procession of children straight out of the town gates, following the same path he had taken with the rats. The parents watched, frozen in anguish, as their beloved children, including Luna and Finn, disappeared beyond the stone archway, their innocent laughter echoing back faintly. Mayor Hubert stood dumbfounded, his face ashen, finally realizing the terrible consequence of his broken promise. A cold dread settled in his heart as he understood the gravity of his mistake, seeing Hamelin's joy turn into profound sorrow.
Oh, what has Mayor Hubert done? Mayor Hubert's greed has taken Hamelin's children. This is a nightmare for Hamelin.
Our children, Mayor Hubert. Farmer Elara's heart is breaking for Hamelin's children.
The Pied Piper, still playing his irresistible melody, led the children through sun-dappled fields, past sparkling streams, and into a secret meadow just beyond the town. It was a beautiful place, hidden from the main path, where wildflowers bloomed in riotous colors and tall grasses swayed gently in the breeze. The air was filled with the sweet scent of honeysuckle and the happy buzzing of bees. The children, still under the spell of the music, explored the meadow with joyful abandon. They chased butterflies, picked colorful flowers, and laughed as they played games in the tall grass, their faces glowing with pure happiness.
This meadow is so lovely, Finn. Luna has never seen so many pretty flowers. Luna feels like a fairy princess dancing in a magical garden.
Finn agrees, Luna. This is much more fun than staying in Hamelin. Finn wants to play hide-and-seek among these tall grasses with Luna.
Children, come, let us play a game of tag among the buttercups. The Pied Piper believes you will all enjoy the chase and the laughter in this beautiful meadow.
The children followed the Pied Piper's gentle suggestion, their laughter echoing through the meadow as they frolicked and played. The Pied Piper watched them with a knowing smile, his music a soft, continuous backdrop to their joyous games. He knew they were safe and happy, and that this experience, for them, was simply a wonderful adventure. Meanwhile, back in Hamelin, the parents were frantic, their grief and regret growing with every passing moment, searching desperately for their missing little ones.
Little Lily caught a butterfly. Piper! Look, Piper! Little Lily's butterfly is so colorful. Little Lily will let it go now.
Back in Hamelin, the town was plunged into a somber silence. No laughter, no cheerful calls, only the sound of anxious footsteps and tearful whispers. Mayor Hubert, his face pale and etched with remorse, finally understood the full, terrible weight of his actions. His greed had cost Hamelin its most precious treasure. The townspeople, equally distraught, gathered in the square, their hearts heavy with worry and regret. They too felt the sting of their own silence when Mayor Hubert broke his promise, realizing they should have spoken up more forcefully. A profound sorrow had replaced Hamelin's earlier joy, and a deep longing for their children filled every heart.
Oh, what a fool Mayor Hubert has been. Mayor Hubert should have kept Mayor Hubert's word. Mayor Hubert's greed has brought such sadness to Hamelin. Where could Hamelin's children be?
Baker Henrik's heart aches for Lena. Baker Henrik misses Lena's sweet smile. Baker Henrik wishes Baker Henrik had insisted Mayor Hubert pay the Pied Piper.
Farmer Elara feels such guilt, Mayor Hubert. Farmer Elara should have reminded Mayor Hubert of Hamelin's honor. Farmer Elara hopes our children are safe.
The townspeople, now united in their sorrow and their newfound understanding of honesty, decided they could not simply wait. They began to search, calling out their children's names, their voices tinged with desperation. They searched every alley, every garden, every familiar path around Hamelin, their hope slowly dwindling with each empty turn. They knew they had to find their children, and they had to make amends for their collective failure to uphold the promise. The silence of the town felt deafening without the sound of young voices.
Citizen Marcus thinks we must find them. Citizen Marcus will search the riverbanks. Perhaps our children went towards the river with the Pied Piper.
The worried parents, led by a deeply remorseful Mayor Hubert, scoured the paths around Hamelin. They looked under every bush and peered into every nook, their hearts pounding with anxiety. They called out, "Luna!" and "Finn!" and "Lily!" their voices hoarse with worry. Finally, Farmer Elara, with her keen eyes, spotted a faint path leading off into the deeper woods, a path they hadn't noticed before. A glimmer of hope, tiny but persistent, sparked within their despairing hearts. They knew they had to follow, no matter where it led, their love for their children driving them forward, their determination unwavering.
Look, Mayor Hubert, Farmer Elara sees a faint trail here, leading towards the old oak grove. Farmer Alara thinks the Pied Piper might have gone this way with Hamelin's children.
Lead the way, Farmer Alara. Mayor Hubert will follow. Mayor Hubert will walk through fire if it means finding Hamelin's children. Mayor Hubert has learned Mayor Hubert's lesson.
With renewed determination, the townspeople pushed through the undergrowth, their search growing more frantic. They called out again, their voices filled with a desperate longing. Then, carried on a gentle breeze, they heard it. Faint, happy laughter. It was the laughter of children, unmistakably their own children, a sound that brought tears of relief to many eyes. The laughter seemed to be coming from beyond Oak Grove, from a hidden place no one in Hamelin had ever noticed before.
Did you hear that, Grocer Tobias? Citizen Anya hears Clara's laugh. Citizen Anya knows that laugh. Our children are safe, Grocer Tobias.
Grocer Tobias hears it too, Citizen Anya. Grocer Tobias thinks our Felix is laughing. Thank goodness. Let's hurry, Mayor Hubert.
The parents, their hearts soaring with relief, rushed through the last line of trees and burst into the secret, sun-dappled meadow. There, bathed in golden light, were all the children of Hamelin, playing happily. Luna was chasing a butterfly, Finn was pretending to be a knight, and little Lily was weaving a daisy chain. The Pied Piper sat on a mossy stone, his flute silent now, watching over them with a benevolent smile. He had kept them safe, given them a day of pure, unadulterated joy, away from the troubled town. The children, still beaming, looked up as their parents entered the meadow, their eyes wide with innocent surprise.
Our children! Oh, thank goodness. Mayor Hubert is so relieved. Mayor Hubert thought Hamelin had lost Hamelin's children forever.
Mama, Papa, look at the pretty flowers Luna found. Luna and Finn were playing a wonderful game with the Pied Piper. Where were Mama and Papa, Luna's parents?
Finn learned how to skip like a bunny, Mama and Papa. This meadow is so much fun. Finn thinks Mayor Hubert should see all the beautiful things Finn and Luna found here.
The parents rushed forward, tears streaming down their faces, scooping up their children in tight, loving hugs. They showered them with kisses, their relief palpable, their earlier fear melting into overwhelming gratitude. The children, at first confused by the sudden display of emotion, soon returned their parents' embraces, their happy giggles filling the meadow once more. The air, thick with emotion, vibrated with relief and love, a stark contrast to the earlier despair.
My sweet Clara, Citizen Anya missed Clara so much. Citizen Anya is so happy to hold Clara again.
Mayor Hubert, his eyes glistening with tears, approached the Pied Piper. He knelt before him, his usual portly pride completely gone, replaced by genuine humility and remorse. He finally understood the profound lesson the Pied Piper had come to teach Hamelin. He took the Pied Piper's hand, his voice thick with emotion, expressing true regret for his foolish greed and broken promise. The other townspeople, their own children now safely in their arms, gathered around, their faces reflecting the mayor's remorse and their own understanding of the importance of keeping one's word.
Pied Piper, Mayor Hubert is so deeply sorry. Mayor Hubert broke Mayor Hubert's promise, and Mayor Hubert almost lost Hamelin's most precious treasures. Mayor Hubert understands now. A promise is truly sacred.
The Pied Piper is glad Mayor Hubert now understands the value of a promise. Honesty is a far greater treasure than any gold, Mayor Hubert. The Pied Piper believes Hamelin will remember this lesson.
The Pied Piper's voice was gentle, without a hint of anger, only a quiet wisdom. He accepted Mayor Hubert's sincere apology, a silent agreement passing between them. The townspeople nodded, their hearts heavy with their shared mistake, but also lightened by the promise of a new beginning for Hamelin, one built on trust and integrity. They knew this day would forever change their town, making it a better, more honest place for everyone.
Farmer Alara is so sorry too, Pied Piper. Farmer Alara should have spoken up for you, Pied Piper. Farmer Alara will always keep Farmer Alara's word from now on.
Baker Henrik feels the same, Pied Piper. Baker Henrik promises to always be fair and honest in Hamelin, just as you taught Baker Henrik today.
With renewed purpose and a genuine smile, Mayor Hubert turned to his townspeople. He pulled out a heavy purse, much larger than the few silver coins he had initially offered. The bag jingled with the sound of many gold coins, gleaming brightly in the meadow's sunlight. He presented it to the Pied Piper with both hands, his eyes full of respect and true gratitude. This was the payment he had promised, and he was proud to finally deliver it. The townspeople watched, a sense of rightness settling over the meadow. The Pied Piper accepted the bag with a gracious nod, recognizing the sincere intent behind the now eagerly offered gold.
Here, Pied Piper, is the full payment Mayor Hubert promised, and a little extra as a token of Hamelin's deepest apologies and gratitude. May Hamelin always remember this day.
Thank you, Mayor Hubert. The Pied Piper accepts Hamelin's generous payment. The Pied Piper believes Hamelin has learned a valuable lesson about keeping promises and treating everyone with fairness.
The children, who had been listening with innocent curiosity, now understood a little of what had happened. Luna and Finn looked at each other, their faces serious. They had experienced a grand adventure, but also sensed the importance of the moment, realizing that grown-ups, just like children, sometimes made mistakes and needed to learn. They saw the relief and joy on their parents' faces and felt a warm surge of love for their families and their now mended town.
Luna thinks Mayor Hubert is being very fair now. Luna thinks it's good to keep promises, Finn. Always.
Finn thinks so too, Luna. Finn is happy that Mayor Hubert understands now, and that Hamelin's children are back with Hamelin's families.
With their promises mended and their hearts full, the children joyfully ran to their relieved families. Parents hugged their little ones tightly, whispering words of love and reassurance. The meadow was filled with happy chatter and the gentle sounds of reunion, a beautiful contrast to the earlier panic. The air vibrated with a renewed sense of community and warmth as families were brought back together, stronger and wiser than before. The lesson of fairness and honesty had been deeply absorbed by everyone in Hamelin, not just the mayor, but every single townsperson.
Oh, Clara, my sweet girl. Citizen Anya will never let Clara go again. Citizen Anya loves Clara so much.
Mama, little Clara loves Mama too. Little Clara had so much fun playing in the meadow with Luna and Finn.
The Pied Piper watched the happy reunions, a soft, contented smile on his face. His mission was complete. He had rid Hamelin of its rats, and more importantly, he had reminded the town of a truth far more valuable than gold, the importance of integrity and keeping one's word. The sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting long golden shadows across the meadow, painting the scene in warm, gentle hues. A sense of peace settled over Hamelin's families, a peace earned through a difficult but ultimately unifying lesson.
Felix, my boy! Grocer Tobias will tell Felix a story about why it's always important to be honest, just like the Pied Piper taught Hamelin today.
Finn already knows, Papa. Finn knows that Finn must always keep Finn's promises.
The Pied Piper turned to Mayor Hubert and the grateful townspeople. He gave a final, kind nod, his eyes twinkling with warmth and understanding. He had brought them a challenging lesson, but one that would undoubtedly make Hamelin a better place for generations to come. The townspeople understood that the Pied Piper's work was done and that he was ready to move on. There was no sadness in his departure, only a quiet sense of completion, a gentle resolution to the great adventure that had unfolded in their town. The setting sun cast long, peaceful shadows over the meadow as the Pied Piper prepared for his journey.
Hamelin has learned well. The Pied Piper wishes Hamelin peace and prosperity. May Hamelin always remember the value of truth and kindness.
Thank you, Pied Piper. Thank you for everything. Hamelin will never forget the lesson the Pied Piper taught Hamelin today. Mayor Hubert will ensure Hamelin always keeps Hamelin's word.
With a graceful wave,
the Pied Piper turned and walked towards the edge of the meadow. He didn't play his flute, but the melody of his lesson lingered in the air, a silent promise of a better future for Hamelin. He disappeared into the deepening shadows, his colorful coat a fleeting glimpse of magic against the dusk. The townspeople watched him go, their hearts full of gratitude and a renewed commitment to honesty and fairness.
Goodbye, Pied Piper. Luna hopes Luna sees the Pied Piper again someday. Luna will always remember the Pied Piper's music.
Goodbye, Pied Piper. Finn will remember everything the Pied Piper taught Finn and Hamelin today.
The families of Hamelin walked back to their town, hand in hand, the children chattering happily about their meadow adventure, and the parents reflecting on the profound lesson they had learned. The sun had fully set, and the first stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, casting a gentle, peaceful glow over Hamelin. The town, once plagued by rats and then by dishonesty, now felt fresh and clean, filled with a quiet strength and a newfound integrity. They knew they would always remember the Pied Piper and the powerful message he had left with them, a message that would guide Hamelin's future.
Hamelin truly is a better place now. Mayor Hubert will make sure every promise made in Hamelin is a promise kept. Hamelin's word will be as good as gold from this day forward.
Farmer Elara feels such peace, Mayor Hubert. Farmer Elara is so glad Hamelin's children are safe, and that Hamelin has learned to be honest.
As they approached their homes, the streetlights flickered on, casting warm, inviting pools of light. The scent of supper wafted from open windows, and the sounds of normal life, now truly peaceful, filled the air. Children yawned, their eyelids growing heavy after their day of play and adventure. Parents tucked their little ones into bed, a renewed sense of gratitude in their hearts for their precious families and their revitalized town. The gentle whispers of good night filled the quiet homes, as Hamelin embraced its new, honest beginning.
Luna had such a wonderful, exciting day, Mama. Luna is so happy to be home with Mama and Papa in Hamelin.
Finn thinks Hamelin is the best town now, Mama and Papa. Finn learned so much today.
Hamelin was a town transformed, not just by the absence of rats, but by the presence of a deeper, more profound understanding of fairness, honesty, and the sacred bond of a promise. The Pied Piper had not just cleared away a nuisance, he had planted the seeds of integrity in the hearts of its people. And so the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin became a timeless tale, whispered from parents to children, a reminder that true wealth lies not in gold, but in the unwavering value of one's word. The lessons learned that day shone brightest of all, guiding Hamelin's path forward, ensuring its joy would never again be shadowed by greed or deceit. The sounds of Hamelin drifted off into the night, a soft, contented hum.
Luna thinks Hamelin will always be a kind and honest place now, Finn. Luna feels very safe and loved here.
Finn agrees, Luna. Finn is glad for Hamelin. Finn hopes all towns remember to be fair and kind, just like Hamelin will now.
And now, as the moon climbs high and the stars begin to sparkle, listen to the quiet whispers of the night. It's time for you to close your eyes, drift into sweet dreams, and remember that keeping your promises and being kind makes the world a truly magical place. Good night, dear friend, and sleep tight. And that is the end of our story. Thank you for listening to Go Readling Bedtime Stories. Visit goreadling.com for more stories, reading adventures, and fun learning for kids. Sweet dreams, little one. Good night.